this is Brian with Altitude Dog Training, and I am here today at my behavior center, Uptown Dog. We're with Mr. Boo, and I wanted to put together a video talking about teaching a stay and communicating that information. So the first thing to know is it is predicated upon a couple things. The dog needs to know a mark and reward system, i.e. when they do the right thing, they have a verbal signal like a yes. That means food is coming because you did the right thing. The second thing that needs to be in place is a concept of pressure and release. So if I put some pressure upward on Boo's collar, theoretically and hopefully, it's not much pressure, it's just it's actually very little pressure, but it's just sort of a nuisance, and I can help him back here if I need to, directionally, and as soon as he sits down, the pressure's going to go away. So those things need to be in place first, all right? They also need to know whatever position you're going to teach them a stay out of, so they need to either know a down or a sit, something of this nature. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask him for a sit. If he does it, I'm going to mark and reward, and then I'm going to tell him to stay, and I'm going to start reinforcing that piece, all right? And I'm going to allow him to make choices and give him information based off of that. Boo. All right, sit. Yes. Stay. Yes. So in the beginning, stay. I'm going to focus on duration and him holding position over a period of time as opposed to a lot of distance. And once, yes, I get the duration piece going, I'll start to add a little bit of distance. Stay. Yes. Now, depending on your dog's attention span, stay, you're going to need to set this up to have a more rapid rate of reinforcement. So you're going to have to mark and reward quicker because like Boo has a pretty good attention span. He just made a mistake, so I gave him a correction marker. I said, and then I applied a tiny bit of pressure to get him back in the position. Good boy. Notice I'm not going to feed right away because he made a poor decision, and I had to do all this work to help him get back into the position, so I'm going to keep the payment and the food. Yes, but once he's holding position again for a little bit, I'm going to go back to the mark and reward. Stay. Yes. So now I've got a little bit of duration, so I'm going to add in some distance to this equation. Stay. Yes. Initially, I do not want to move very far away from the dog at all, right? Just tiny approximations, baby steps. Stay. Yes. When I teach a stay, you notice I don't use a visual cue. I don't think that that's necessary, unless you make it necessary. But verbal only control and understanding is a higher level of education. It's more difficult for dogs, so I always like to train to that criteria. You can add a hand signal if you want to, but it's unnecessary. Stay. And I don't want to make dogs dependent on that type of thing, so I just don't teach it that way. Stay. Yes. You'll notice I'm also periodically reminding him and building the association between the word stay and what I want him to do, because we're feeling like he doesn't actually know a stay truly, so we're just building an association and marking and rewarding him for almost initially accidentally doing the right thing. So he made a mistake there, he went into a down, so I'm just going to back up a little bit and then help him back into a sit. Stay. Yes. Okay. Yes. You're also going to notice that I am using the marker word or the yes when I'm and sometimes you can just pop into their front paws to get them back to where they're supposed to be. Stay. Yes. But I am marking at a distance. Stay. So I'm marking a distance. I'm saying yes from back here and returning to him. I'm not saying yes as I'm returning. Yes. The reason for that is, in short, stay. Animals think in pictures, and the picture that I want to capture with my yes, that's psychologically sort of feeding and rewarding his brain. Yes is when I'm at a distance from him, not as I'm returning to him, because the point of the exercise is not to get me to come back to him. Me returning to him is not what I'm trying to reward. I'm trying to reward me being all the way over here, him doing his job over there. Yes. Right? And so every time I say yes, it's like a snapshot in his brain. Like I'm taking a snapshot of a moment in time and a behavior, and that picture is what he's going to remember. So he's starting to go into, there we go, good boy. And he's a little tired, so he wants to lie down. I understand that. But if I'm teaching a sit stay, I don't want him going into down. Yes. And then the last piece of all this is releasing him. Free. Right. So I have to have a termination point or an ending signal that says you're done doing the exercise. And so from the time I tell him stay until the time I tell him free, which means school's out, you're done, it's just going to be a series of him making decisions and me rewarding or reinforcing that however necessary. So if he's choosing to stay in the position, I'm going to say yes and feed. If he makes a mistake, not a big deal. It's not personal. It's just keeping the information clean and saying which basically means wrong, and then going back and helping fix the mistake by making it a little bit uncomfortable for him to do that. So it's much easier to just stay planted on the ground and have me tell him yes and return with food. That's easier and more pleasant for him than me saying and coming back and adding pressure to this scenario. Good boy, boo. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you guys have an awesome afternoon.